Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Creating Cards with Debbie. I want to welcome you here today. And I'm just going to give a moment for everybody to get here. I might have jumped on just a moment a little early. So let me introduce myself. My name is Debbie Foster, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm located in Bismarck, Arkansas, and that's in the United States. And we're going to be working with just the designer series paper today. We're going to showcase that, and then I'm going to add a couple stamp sets to do our sentiments with, and some dies for cutting. But the real beauty is the designer series paper today. All right, let me go ahead and turn my camera down, and be sure you comment when you come on. And it's fun to see who all is here and where you're watching from. It's kind of fun to see too. So, all right, like I said, I'm going to turn my camera around and we will get started. Okay, today is June 23rd, 2025, and it is Monday. And if you're watching the replay, that doesn't matter what the date is, I guess, to you. So if you're watching either live or on the replay, be sure that you hit that like button and the share button. And if you're watching me on YouTube, which I simulcast both Facebook and YouTube at the same time, be sure that you hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel, and you'll be notified if you hit that bell along with that to know when I put up new videos. And I thought I muted my phone, but I guess I didn't. Let me go ahead and do that. It never says anything until I'm live when I don't want it to be going off. All right. So do not disturb and put my sound on mute. Okay. Like I said, be sure you comment when you come on. All right. Hi, Jackie. Glad you're here. I didn't know you were back home already. Okay, like I said, I'm creating cards with Debbie, and you can shop any of the products that I'm showing. And I'll run that banner across the bottom. It says shop with me at www.debbiefoster.stampinup.net. And you can purchase any items that I'm showing today or any paper products that you might be in need of to do your projects. And if you need to email me of any questions, you can reach me at creatingwithdebbie179@gmail.com. All right, let me get on with the rest of our news. We can go through before we start. Paper pumpkin. This is the kit that's for our July kit. And you have until July 10th to sign up for this one. And it says Sweeter With You is the title of it. Scooch that up a little bit. And let me take some of these tickers off of here. Okay. It says makes 4 different card designs, and it's called Sweeter With You. And look at the pretty box. And it looks like summertime with the strawberries. And I like the gingham also. But it says Craft Sweet handmade cards featuring sun-kissed strawberries and breezy gingham. It makes 8 cards, 2 each of 4 designs, with 8 coordinating envelopes. And pre-cut paper pieces and vellum accents, hand-painted card-based designs. And the Stampin' Spot that you get with this one is going to be the garden green. Okay, and it says that the charming gingham box coordinates with the kit also. So we probably got some papers that are looking like this. All right, so like I said, you got until July 10th to sign up for this one. And this is a kit that you can get if you're a beginner stamper. It's got everything in it that you need except for maybe scissors and maybe some extra adhesive that you want to use, like liquid glue or something. and you're ready to go, because with the first kit, you also get your acrylic block with it. And also, as an add-on to that, for the next 3 months, we've got, these are called Get the Circle of Seasons Dies While Supplies Last. And these are $12. And the item number is 167277. So if you signed up for the Paper Pumpkin for July, you could also add this onto your order. You have to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, but that would qualify you. And like I said, that was $12. And it coordinates with the next 3 months, which would be July, August, and September kits. It's got the word hello cut out, and it's got like an acorn with, or no, that's a strawberry, and it's got the little cutout for the strawberry. It's got the solid back, and then it's got the cutout dots for the seeds. And then we've got a circle and also some leaves here. So it comes with quite a few things in it. All right, and don't forget about our last chance products that are still in our online store. These are products that are going away, so it'd be like our retired ones were last year, but they put them all into the last chance products instead. And these are available only while supplies last. And I'm using a lot of those products today. I'm going to be showing you, and some of them are discounted. The price is discounted, so that's even an added bonus. And don't forget about our online exclusives. We've got some new ones that have been added. You've probably seen me using the Impressions of Bloom bundle in my past videos. So that's some of the things in the paper. So check those out too. It's things that aren't in the catalog, that's only on the online exclusives. So you might want to check that out. All right. And then also we've got from June 3rd to June 30th of 2025, it says save big during this buy one, get one 50% off sale on all sweets and sweet products. And that is for all sweets and sweet products. Buy one and get one 50% off while supplies last. And this is a good savings too, because if you wanted to buy 2 sweets, you could buy one at the regular price and get the other one at half price. So that's a little extra bonus. And that also, you don't have to just get the sweets. You can get sweet products with a discount. You buy one at the regular price and then get the next lower priced item at 50% off. So if you have any questions on that, reach out to me and I'll be glad to explain it a little bit better. It is a little bit confusing. Also, starting July 16th to the 18th, 2025, from 2 o'clock until 10:30 p.m. Mountain Time, it says craft with the new month-by-month album retreat 2025 kit. It says get yours while supplies last. And this is scrapbooking. It's called Virtual Album Retreat, and it makes 12 double pages. So you get not just 12 sheets, but you get 24. So it'd be 2 per month. And during this live event, you'll make a 12-spread album using the month-by-month album retreat 2025 kit. Everyone who purchased this kit will get access to an exclusive Facebook group where the live event will be held. To learn more about the month-by-month album retreat 2025 kit and the virtual album retreat, go online to Stampin' Up's website. And the cost of this, it seems kind of expensive, but not when you break it down. It's $250, but you get all the supplies that you're going to need. And let me see. And you've got the 12 months layouts, double page. So it's showing each month the breakdown of what it's going to look like. And I'm just trying to see what all is included in this. During this 3-day virtual event, you'll create 12 scrapbook spreads, craft with a community that loves memory keeping, learn new techniques, and interact on a personal level with fellow crafters and Stampin' Up staff. Okay. If you have any questions, reach out to me on this. if you're a scrapbooker, that used to be with close to my heart. Stampin' Up has taken over a lot of their products, and we're featuring scrapbooking things now where we didn't before. So that's a little extra. So you can find those in my online store. And there are some in the catalog also, some scrapbooking things. All right, I think that pretty well covers it. But I also want to mention that if you want to get your Stampin' Up! Starter Kit, let me bring that website up here. Right here. You can join my team, and that doesn't mean you have to do what I do. You can just join to get your discount on your products. And what that is you pay $99 free shipping. And if you have a sales tax in your state, then you'd pay the sales tax, but there's no shipping charge. So $99, and you pick out $125 worth of products to put in your starter kit. So you get $26 extra products that you don't have to pay anything for. So if you have any questions on that, reach out to me. And also, you can get your starter kit at this website I'm showing at the bottom of my screen. Just go on there and click that, and it'll give you more information. All right. Okay, so let's get the show on the road here. And like I said, I'm going to be using, oops, about my camera now. I'm using the beautiful Gallery 6x6 inch designer series paper today. And then I'm going to use some stamp sets to add my sentiments to. But let me go ahead and show you these. These are so pretty. This is my second pack of paper that I've purchased because I like it so much. Okay, it's got 12 designs, 4 of each. They're double-sided, so it's a total of 48 sheets of paper in here. So here's the front. Here's the back. Front page, back page. So a lot of these you just have to add a sentiment to, and you've got a card already made. This one's kind of an old-fashioned looking picture. And this is one that we're using today. I'm going to make a panoramic card out of that one. That's the back side. I have the item number down in the description of my video if you want that. It's called Beautiful Gallery. It's the name of the paper. This one's kind of interesting. It looks like a street map. And then we're using this one too today. Little cabin or little house out in the prairie or whatever it looks like. So there's the papers that are in that pack. Like I said, it's 12 designs, double-sided, and it's 4 of each design, giving you a total of 48 sheets. All right, so let me see which one I want to start with here. I think I'm going to start with this one. All right, I've got some samples made up of this card, but I'm going to kind of change it out a little bit. I'm going to be using some different dies for cutting it out instead. So let me get that all out here. Okay, I started out with this one, but I'm going to change the frame of it instead. So let me get that banner off of there. Make some more space so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and this one says Hope. And it's kind of it's sunk in a little bit, and the framework is sitting up on dimensionals. So it gives it some dimension and depth. Okay, it says hope is believing believing in a brighter tomorrow. And my comments up here. Thanks, Jackie. Yeah, I think it is too. All right, so we're going to start out with our card base. And that is our Mossy Meadow. It is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and then it's scored in the center at 4 1/4 inches. So we're going to burnish that fold line. And our card is going to sit landscape style. And here's the designer series paper. I've already cut that down to size. I want it to be 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. And the dies that we're going to use on that are from the Wildflower Designs dies. And this is on the last chance section, and it's marked down. It was marked down to $27.90, and now it's marked down again to $24.80. So remember, that's while supplies last, so be sure you get in there and grab that. And what did I do with my dot? There it is, right in front of me. So I'm going to be using this larger die. You can see we've got an assortment of dies in there. And I'm going to center that right onto that designer series paper, and we're going to die cut that out. So I'm going to try to get the most of my house in here and have it centered. So I want to, I'm going to stand up to be able to cut this out with my large die cut machine. So I'm going to just bring my plate over here and place it on there. Then I'll stand up and do my die cutting. So I've got my washi tape. I'm going to hold it in place so it doesn't move on me. And I'll get that centered again. And put some tape at each end. And I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. I'm using my bigger machine, so I'm not bringing it over to my desktop. I have problems with my shoulder. It's kind of heavy to lift on. All right, let's cut out. Scooch back up here and tear that off very easily so I don't rip my paper. Okay. Take that washi tape off of there. So it cuts out 2 layers. It cuts out the inside, and then it leaves you the outside framework. So I'm going to take my pokey tool. I'm going to coax that to come out. This will go along there. And that's going to be our frame on this one. We're not going to have a full frame all the way around. So I'm going to bring my cardstock over here, my card base. And I'm going to place this down with just our regular adhesive glue. So I'm using my Tombow glue. And I think I'm going to grab my silicone mat over here so I don't get glue everywhere. And we're just starting out. I may be doing 4 cards today, so I'm going to see what my time allows for me. So you might get an extra bonus card today with this video. So get some glue on here, and I probably should have grabbed a new bottle. Seems like last time I used this, it was getting kind of low, but we're going to see what happens. All right, and make sure you've got the sky at the top and not the other way around. And we're going to place that centered onto our card front. And with the liquid glue, you've got time to scooch it around, so that's a good thing, because I never get it placed down there straight the first time. And I think that's fairly good right there. So you can see. And then I'm going to come in here with my center piece. And this is going to go straight down. But I think I want to put my framework in there first. And I'm going to use some adhesive strips, which are in our book, and they're on page 113. It's the foam adhesive strips. and it's number 141825, and they're $8.25 for a pack of those. So you get quite a few in a pack. I'm just going to take those out, and I'm going to start placing my strips down along my frame. Let's bring this silicone mat over here again, and tear that apart and place it in the center of that frame. You can probably hear my husband outside mowing. Hopefully he stays cool today. We're supposed to have a heat index of, what is it, 109? And the air temperature of 92. So it's pretty toasty out there today. And I'm going to snip this down just a little bit. And let's a couple other ones here. Hope y'all had a good weekend. Ours was good. Nothing exciting, just their normal things. Make sure that's not sticking past the edge. All right, and let's set our silicone mat up there for a moment. And I'm going to wrap all these strips. I'm going to use my take your pick tool. My fingernails aren't working very well. Grab those backings off. And try and see where my trash can was. I wasn't throwing them on the floor. And one more. And I'm being careful that I put it the right side up here. And I'm going to put that down in the center of our designer series paper, lining that up with the edges. And it looks pretty good. So you can kind of see, you can see it's got a little depth there. Oh, welcome, Mary, from Ontario, Canada. That's awesome. I'm glad to have you here today. And yes, I love this paper too. It's gorgeous. All right, so we're going to put that flat down inside there. Glad to have you here today. And set down inside. Lining it up with the outside framework. So it's got a little bit of an indentation. So I don't know. I guess the camera kind of shows it a little bit. All right, so that's our outside of our card. So now I'm going to work on our sentiment that goes along with that. And I'm just going to use, this is our mossy meadow that matches the card base. And I'm going to use the stamp that comes from Unbounded Love. And this is in our annual catalog. And I'm going to use Hope. And then on the inside, I'm going to use the inside sentiment. It's going to be, is believing in a brighter tomorrow. So they kind of go together. So let's grab our Hope stamp and our black Memento ink. And I've used the craft white pad, and I put my black Memento ink into it. And I like the stamping surface a lot better than the regular Memento pad is. So it's just kind of an added extra there. And we're going to die cut this out. So I'm going to leave some space to be able to die cut around that. And the die cut is going to be from the Textured Notes dies. And I'm going to be using that center die. Which is this one right here. And we're going to place that onto our word. And I think I'm going to keep it off to the left side a little bit because I'm going to put a bow at this side. So I'm going to take my washi tape again and hold that in place. And I can bring my small button emboss machine over for this. I started off, my desk was clean, but I'm past it and it cluttered up again. So it doesn't take long when we're creating. Run that through. My handle is still squeaking. Off. So this one's a little bit different from the other one. So I'm going to attach it down to that left-hand corner. But then I'm also going to place it up on dimensionals. So it sits up on top of that frame. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals and put one. I like it better over here. I'm going to place it right next to my framework. Take that off. Yeah, see, my fingernails do not work. And I'm going to place a little bit of glue along this frame to hold the other side down a little bit so it doesn't curl up on me. And get right about there. And then our little bow comes from, this is the 2023 to 2025 in color jute trim. And this is in the last chance too. It was $8, got marked down to $6.40. And now it's marked down again to $5.60. So that's item number 161637. And it's also in the description of the video. So I've already made a little bow out of that. And we're going to place that onto our sentiment label there with a glue dot, a mini glue dot. So let's bring that over here and attach that to our glue dot. I'm going to pick that back off with my Take Your Pick tool. And we're going to place that at a little bit of an angle onto the right side of our sentiment label. So here we are. But we need to add a little bit of bling to it. So I've also got another product that was in the last chance. And this was $8.50, marked down to $7.65. And now it's marked down again to $6.80. And these are the Pecan Pie and Clear Ribbon Adhesive-Backed dots. And we're going to place some of those down onto our card. I take the pick tool. We're going to use the putty end. And I'm going to grab some of the Pecan Pie ones. I'm going to use, start out with a large. I guess it's only two sizes. So we're going to do two large ones. And a little small one can go onto our sentiment over here at the upper left-hand corner. Get things out of the way. So here's the front of our card. And we need to do the inside of the card. So we're going to use our basic white, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And got a little strip of our designer series paper to go along with that, and that is looks like 3/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and that's going to lay across our bottom side here. So I'm just trying to see which way that looks best. I guess that way. So we're going to add our adhesive to that. And I'm going to have to grab another bottle here, I think, today. All right, put that, leave a little white edge at the bottom and butt it up against each side. And it's just right. I don't have to trim any off of that. I should have done my stamping first. I went against my own rules. You're supposed to stamp first in case you need to turn it over, but I didn't do that. So we're going to hope for the best here. Keep our fingers crossed. And I'm going to put it off to the upper right-hand side here. And that looks pretty good. We didn't mess it up anyway, thank goodness. All right, now it's going to go on the inside of our card. And make sure that we're not upside down here. Oops, I bumped the camera there, I'm sorry. And it goes on the inside of our card, centered. Wow. There we are. Thank goodness for the time to move this around because I've got it crooked. All right. All's better. Yeah, it doesn't take long to mess up a craft room, does it, Mary? I started cleaning this morning before I got started, but then I figured I better quit and get back with the program here. Okay, so here's our first card. It says hope. This cute little house in the prairie is believing in a brighter tomorrow. Okay, so see, it's kind of different than the original. So it's got lots of options that you can do for the framing. We've got lots of different dies that would work. All right, so let me clean this up a little bit and we'll get on with our second card. Get some things out of the way here. So here's another one that I did too, but I didn't finish it. This was using the Gallery Blooms dies, and I used this frame here. So it's a little bit different, but I didn't finish it. That was my original, and then I changed it up. So more ideas with it. Like I said, there's lots of frames that would work with this card design. And so let me get on with our next one. I just scooch some things out of the way here to make room. All right, I can get out of the way. Okay, so here's our next one, and I'm doing a sympathy card. I know we need our sympathy cards, and it's not always the best time to make them when they're needed, so I like to do some ahead of time. Okay, Passion Stacking. Welcome. Thank you. Okay, it says with sympathy, and sometimes there are no words. It's on the inside. So this is going to be using that same designer series paper, but with the different patterns. And my card base is going to be Mossy Meadow again. I didn't even realize that the same color. Okay, 5.5 by 8.5, and scored at 4 1/4 inches. And we're going to burnish that fold line. And we've got another card that's going to be landscape style. I gotta get my dies back over here. I put them away. I shouldn't have yet. So we're using the Textured Notes dies, and we're going to be using 2 of the dies. We're going to be using the largest one and the, let's see, so that's number 1. So it'd be number 3 die. So we're going to cut out the larger layer is this larger one and that pattern using that die. And this design, I used the number 3 die. All right, and we'll start assembling our card. We'll bring our card base back over here. And this is going to land to our card front. This side's pretty too. So I'm going to center that onto our card front, leaving a border going around it. And we're going to bring over our other pattern. And I'm going to figure out which way it's upside down. So I think this way looks good. And we're going to glue that directly down. You could put this up on dimensionals if you wanted to. But to make it easier to mail, I kind of like it without the dimensionals. Oh, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. A frog in there. Finally starting to get rid of that nasty cold that I had, head cold. It's kind of lingering. I think this is like the 2nd or 3rd week of it. I've still got the cough and some congestion, but it's getting better each day. Okay. And then I used my Stylish Shapes dies to do the banners, and I used 2 different ones. I did this is a petal pink cardstock, and I used this die. And basic beige, I used this die. I've already pre-cut those already. And I'll set those aside. I'm going to take the banner, the pink banner, and I'm going to lay that across this bottom portion. And I'm going to, this will go in the center of that, but I'm going to stamp our sentiment on it first, which says with sympathy. And that comes from the Unbounded Love with sympathy. And I'm going to use my black Memento ink. All right, and we're going to stamp that right in the center of this banner, the basic beige. Or you could stamp first and then die cut, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to attach the pink banner first. And center it towards the bottom area, bottom left corner. And this is going to go right on top of that. If you wanted to use dimensionals on this card, you could, but I wanted to keep it simple to mail. It keeps our post office happier, I think, without the bulkiness. And squished over just a tiny bit. Keep an even edge on both sides. And now we're going to bling it up a little bit. I'm using the basic gray and smoky slate pearls. And these were in the last chance also. And they're marked down to $7.50. And remember, these are while supplies last. So if you're wanting them, you need to get in there fairly quick. All right, we're going to use, I'm going to go with the greenish colored. And I'm going to use the smaller ones. We'll do 3. And a third one can go onto the corner of that banner. All right, so here's the front of our card. So let's do the inside. And I don't think I grabbed a inside layer. Let me see what I put on the inside. Yeah. Grab my pack here. Already got some pre-cut insides, innards. So I'm going to use the basic beige. It kind of goes with that a little better. And this is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And stamp our sentiment. And it says, sometimes there are no words. And this comes from the Thoughtful Expression stamp set. And this is in the last chance section too, and it was marked down to $12.50, and now it's marked down again to $10. And it's number 162815. And we're using this sentiment here. Sometimes there are no words. Sometimes there are no words. Couldn't spit that one out very well. My tongue wanted to slide. All right, so black memento. And we're going to stamp that right in the center of this inside layer. And we'll attach that to the inside of our card. So how is everybody's weather where you are? We're supposed to be 92 today with a heat index of 109. So that's pretty toasty. All right, you could add a ribbon if you wanted to, but I didn't. It's got quite a bit of stuff going on already. It doesn't really need it. So with sympathy, sometimes there are no words. That's our second card. And then we're going to do another fun fold here. Instructions out of the way here. On my bits and pieces. Instructions. What I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a little fun fold sympathy card. It says with sympathy. And it opens like this. Sometimes there are no words. So, in the back side. If you wanted to, you could write on the back side also, besides the inside, if you had more to write or something. And let's get started with that. So our card base is our basic beige. And this is 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. And then we've got our glossy metal mat here that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to set that aside. We're not going to attach that yet. We're going to be doing some layers here first. So our next layer is our mossy meadow again, and this is 3 1/4 inches by 5 inches, and I've scored it at 1 inch. And we're going to fold that back and burnish that fold line on there. And this is going to go right over our Mossy Meadow mat, and going to center that, and we're just going to glue down this little flap here on the back side. So let's go ahead and put some tape on there. You could use liquid glue, or you could use Stampin' Seal, tape runner, tear and tape, whichever you prefer, but I'm just going to use my trustworthy liquid glue, and I'm just lining up that seam right there and press that down. Oh, you're pretty hot there too. Passion stacking. Yeah, I think it's probably hot everywhere. Oops, I tore off my paper right there. Okay, so now we can attach this to our card base. Or let's go ahead and put our designer series paper down first. And did I not cut? I am missing one. I have to bring my paper back over here and cut one. I missed cutting that one out for some reason. Here's my paper. Wow, this is a real live here. Okay, it's this pattern. And paper trimmer. It is really pretty too. It'd be pretty and just put it in a frame for a wall hanging. Okay, so let me make sure I've got my measurements right here. So that designer series paper on the inside is 5 1/8 inches by, looks like 3 7/8 inches. Yeah, and to make sure. And I think I'm going to trim off the edges here. Alright, so I'm going to take this to 3 7/8, which is right there. And by 5 1/8 inch. So that wasn't too painful. Got it done. I don't know how I missed not cutting that out at a time. All right, now this is going to go into this inside and place that down. Put that inside of our card. An even border going around it. All right. I think I did something different here. I did. Oops. Okay. So this is the inside of our card. Can go down inside of that area. But I'm going to stamp our sentiment on there first. Let me go ahead and attach this to our card base. I think I'm changing this up a little bit compared to what it should have been, but it's going to all work out in the end. When you do these cards ahead of time, you kind of forget how you did it. You need to jog your memory. This goes on to that basic beige layer, which is our card base. Place that down. And then we want want to stamp our sentiment on the inside, which says sometimes there are no words. Oops. And bring our black magenta ink over here again. And stamp that towards the top of this layer. And then I've got a little strip of that same designer series paper we're going to use, but I'm going to use the back side of it. And I'm going to put that across the bottom layer here. So I'm just going to run a layer of glue on that lower edge. And I'll place that down, leaving a little space at the bottom of the basic beige showing through. And we're going to bring our snips over here and trim that down. And bring our glue back over here again. And I'm going to place that on the inside of our card. Centering it. So that will go back over this way. And we have another designer series paper which measures, well, I don't have the dimensions on my cheat sheet here. So this is 3 1/8 inches by 4 7/8 inches. Will go on the front flap. And all these dimensions will be in my blog later. You got that right, Mary. Just make a variation of the card. No mistakes, just opportunity for creating. That's what I do. Hey, I don't know how many mistakes I make, and I've had to fix them up a little bit. All right, this is going to go on the front of that flap. And then I've already die cut and stamped our sentiment already. It's using that same die that was in the textured notes dies. That little center one. It says with sympathy. We're going to put that at the left-hand corner here, bottom left hand. And place that down. And I made a little bow using the basic beige bordered ribbon. And this also is in the last chance section, and it's marked down to $5.25. And item number is 163788. And I've already made the bow ahead of time, so that's going to go right on the edge of that sentiment label. And my mini glue dots. Take your pick tool to lift that off of there. And I'm going to put it sideways, the edge of that label. And might have to play with our tails there a little bit to make them lay right. Okay. And then I'm using the antique pearls, which I don't have them out here. Let me reach. This is another one that's in our last chance, is the antique pearls. I don't have the item number for it handy. And I'm going to use the larger ones. And I'm going to put one over on this side. And that one there. And then a little one we'll put on the label. I always do odd numbers, so 3 is usually my number that I do. 3s or 5s. Seldom I use 5, but it's usually 3. Okay, so here's our Fun Fold Sympathy card. It says with sympathy, and it opens, and sometimes there are no words. And like I said, you could put some more on the back if you wanted to write a message or anything. So that's card number 3. And then if everybody has time to stick around, I have a 4th one. I almost said 5, not 5. Only 4. So if you want to hang with me, and we'll do this next one. It's a panoramic card, Fun Fold. And let me get some things out of the way here, make room. If not, you can come back and watch me later if you're not able to stay. We're not too far over today, so hopefully it won't take us very long. And let me show you what I have in mind here. It's a panoramic view of a card, and it opens and it shows the whole sheet of paper, kind of. So another sympathy card. And I put another sheet on the back to be able to put another message on the back side. So, okay, if you're willing, let's go ahead and get started. You'd love to see more? Okay, good. I'm glad. It's too hot to be outside, so we might as well do some crafting, right? Okay, first off, I have a sheet of basic gray. And I'm going to put my dimensions over here so you can see. Here it is. I've got it at the bottom of the screen there. The card base is 11 inches by 5.5 inches. And we're going to bring our scoreboard over here. We're going to do some scoring. So let's put this over here. And see if I can get this in the camera view. I guess that don't look too bad. Okay, so our first score line is going to be at 1 3/4 inches. So put a score line there. 1 3/4, and then again at 3.5. 5 1/4. And again at 7 inches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 score lines. And they're showing it on the screen there. So and now we're going to start folding and burnishing our edges. So bone folder over here. And we're going to do accordion fold, like the card is an accordion fold. And we'll go back and forth. Making sure that my cardstock lines up. It doesn't go off keister here. All right, and it's going to open like that. Oh, pool sounds good today too. Make sure you got your sunscreen. Okay, so now we're going to do all my bits and pieces out here. I'm looking for where's the rest of my card here. I didn't take them out of my packaging. All right. So we're using 2 sheets of the Designer Series paper, and I chose this pattern, but you could use any pattern you wanted to. And we're going to start out with the first one. And bring our paper trimmer over here. Set that aside. And we're going to cut okay, so we're going to start with the first sheet of Designer Series paper. We're going to cut from the left side, and we're going to cut it at 5 3/8 inches. Let's do the 1 5/8 inch first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 1 5/8. And I want to cut that down to 5 3/8. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 8, 5 3/8. And I'm cutting off the top portion where the sky is instead of taking away from the bottom. So we're going to set that over here, and then we're going to grab our other sheet, and we're going to cut off the right side at okay, wait a minute. I need to cut off 2 on this left side. So another one at 1 5/8. Yes, 1 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 1 5/8 right there. And 5 3/8 long. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Those will go there. We don't need this one. We'll set that aside so I don't get confused. And then the right side, we're going to cut at 5 3/8 by 3 7/8 inches. So I'm going to turn this upside down so I can get the right side. And it's going to be 3 7/8 inches. Is that what I said? Yeah. 3 7/8 inch. And I have 5 3/8. Okay. All right, so there's our panoramic view, the 3. But we're going to have some panels that are on the back sides, and these come from this pattern. I did the opposite side, and these measure, they should be the same, 1 5/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches, 2 of those, and those will go in between each one of these. So I'll put our paper trimmer back here, and we'll bring our card back over, and we'll start decorating. So I'm going to start with the front flap first and start gluing down. So we're going to glue this to this layer. And I'll do my silicone mat back over here. Oops, bump the camera again. Okay, so this goes onto this first flap. And you want to kind of center it between the score lines and all. Get it fairly straight. And then we're going to grab that plain one, and that's going to go on the next flap. I've been so busy, I haven't even drank any of my drink yet. What are y'all drinking today? I've got pink lemonade that I'm drinking on ice, which is pretty refreshing today. Okay, and then the next one is going to be that scenic one. So I usually do 3 cards on my lives, but I changed it up and I'm doing 4 today. So I hope that works for everybody. If not, you can catch me on the replay. Be sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching me on YouTube also. I'm trying to get my subscribers numbers up a little bit. So like I said, I simulcast on both YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So either platform whichever one you prefer. And okay. And then our last layer is a larger layer. Shake, shake, shake that bottle, get that glue to come down. Good to the last drop. All right, I'm going to turn this sideways so I can get it on there even. Fairly even. And matching up my layers so that they're all the same height and everything. Okay, so, and then it folds up. You might have to recrease it again to get it to lay flat after you've worked with it. Oh, yeah, Mary, I agree. I have to have my coffee in the morning, and then we have another cup about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But during the day, it's usually ice water that I have, and sometimes with lemon in it. Yeah. I'll make up my own lemonade. I'll put a lemon wedges in it, and then I'll add a little Splenda sweetener to it to give it a little sweetness. That's when I'm really fancy. Otherwise, it's just plain old water, ice water. Okay, so here we go. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Okay, so I didn't want to put anything on the front to cover up the view, so I just went with some embellishments instead. So we're going to be using the Adhesive-Backed Dragonflies and Birds, and this is in the last chance also, so you can get that in there. I don't think it was marked down. I think the price is just $8.50. I think that's the regular price. I don't think it's been marked down yet, but it could be. I didn't check it this morning. So we're going to grab some birds, and we've got some big birds and some smaller birds. I'm going to be using both sizes. So we're going to put a larger bird at the left top corner, or the top left right corner. I don't know my right from the left, and then a small bird on that left side. And then I'm going to add my sentiment layer, which is right here. I stamped that on our cloud cover cardstock and with sympathy, and it's that same one we've been using. So I'm just going to put that up in the upper right hand corner on that back panel. And you can see I did this twice on my paper. Had to turn it over. Good thing there's 2 sides to every paper. Sometimes we need to fix up a boo-boo. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, so I've got some sympathy cards on hand here now if I ever need them. Hopefully I don't need them anytime soon, but it seems like the older we get, the more funerals we have to go to. I don't know. Crazy. I guess that's life. And now I put a little bird in that corner of that sentiment. And I'm going to use my odd number 5 on this card. So I'm going to add some more birds. And I'm going to place one maybe on this layer and another one on this back side. So let's out of the way. Okay, and I didn't add no bow to it either. I kind of left it with just the embellishments. So you can see with sympathy. And then I got another layer, basic white cardstock. And this is 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And we're going to stamp on the back side, which says, "My heart goes out to you." And this also comes from, where to put the stamp set? It's from an Unbounded Love. And it's this bottom sentiment right here. My heart goes out to you. And we're going to use our black memento ink pad. And stamp that right in the center. And then we're going to attach that to the back of our card. Yeah, I think before I do any more cards, I'm going to have to get me another bottle of glue out. This one's about had it. All right, and then this is going to go onto our back panel, back of our card, for a little extra space to write on. And okay, so here we have our fun fold, our panoramic fun fold, and then on the back side. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our cards today. Let me bring these all out here and see if I can make enough room. Okay. Well, I sort of can. Let me get my dimensions off of there. Hide those. Okay, that gives a little bit more room. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the cards today. Keep yourselves cool today if you can. And jumping in the pool don't sound like too bad of an idea, Mary. Wish we had one. We don't have one. But we're not that far from the lake. We're about 6 miles from the lake. So that's probably another option we could do. Take the boat out and jump in the lake for a while. I know our dog Jojo would love that. She loves to swim. Okay, so until next time, y'all have a good rest of the week. Stay cool. Get in that crafting room and get some me time and do some paper crafts, either scrapbooking or card making or whatever your passion is. So thank you for being here today, and like and share the video, like I said, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. And I will be back next time. I may do a kit sometime this week. It might be a little extra live that I'm going to do. But if I don't, I will be back next Monday, which will be June 30th. Wow, the last day of the month already. Time flies. So until next time, thank you for being here. Bye-bye.